students, it's time for us to actually start working with Chesapeake and the Linux operating system. Linux is an operating system that is what is running this computer. It happens to be Chesapeake. In much the same, Windows might be running the computer that you're on, or Mac OS X might be running the computer that you're on, or whatever you happen to be using, although I'm guessing it's either Windows or Mac OS X. Linux is just another alternative, and we'll learn lots over the course of the semester of the pros and cons of Linux over other operating systems. Linux is sometimes used synonymously with Unix. Linux, we'll get to more details of this later, but Linux is the type of Unix operating system that runs on, let's say Windows computers. I mean, it is chips that are manufactured by Intel and so on. Cheap computers you can buy anywhere, and you just take Windows off and you put Linux on, and now you have a Unix computer. That's in contrast to, like, some amazing database computer run by Google or something where they might have a different version of Unix on it. Anyway, we'll learn more about that over the course of the semester, but right now you have a window that you are logged into Chesapeake with, and I have one here. I happen to be logged into my personal account, Shruggy J, but I could have been logged into the Student 315 account that I like to use for a lot of these sorts of things, because that's configured exactly the same as your account would be. And let's talk about some of the things you need to know about how to work with a Linux command. Linux is generally a what's a good word? It is a command line operating system. It has a command line environment. It's not like a point and click kind of thing, although there are ways to set up Unix to work that way. We're not going to be doing that in this semester. We're going to be working with a command line interface. And like all command line interfaces, it works with what is called a verb-noun syntax. A verb-noun syntax means that these commands work kind of like caveman language. You say a verb, and then you say the noun you want to do the verb to. So, caveman says, eat bear. Okay, that means they're going to eat the bear, right? If you were sitting at your Mac and you wanted to eat the bear, what would you do? You would probably click on bear and then in its properties find eat, right? It would be noun and then verb, right? Same with on a Windows computer. You'd probably, choose the bear and then in a drop-down menu, choose eat the bear, okay? It's a noun and then you choose the verb. It's exactly the opposite on a Mac, on a Linux computer. They're always verb then noun. So, for example, the command to change a directory. Directory is another word. In Linux, they tend to call them directories. Same thing as what you would call on a Mac or on a PC. You would call a folder. Okay, on a Linux computer, they call those directories. And to change directory, like if you want to move to a different folder, on a Mac or a PC, you would choose the folder and then double click it to open it. Noun, verb. On a Linux computer, you type the command cd, which is change directory, and then the name of the folder that you're trying to get into. I don't happen to know right off the top of my head, I don't remember if I have a directory called data, but if I did, cd space data would have given me, would have said change directory to data. I think I do have a directory on here called desktop. So I could cd desktop, and it would change my directory to the desktop directory. Okay, again, remembering that directory is this sort of the Linux term for folder. Actually, it's behind the scenes is what both Macintosh and Windows call it too, but users tend to call them folders. So cd is a good example of such a command. Cd is the verb, change directory, and then the noun is what you're changing the directory to. This is all in contrast then to the noun-verb syntax that point-and-click graphical user interfaces tend to use, where you click something and then you tell what you want to do with it. Okay, so just like on a Windows computer or on a Macintosh computer or whatever, Unix or Linux computers keep your folders, files in directories or folders, and you can change and you can move files between, just like you can move files from one folder to another, or you can erase folders or whatever. Manipulating these folders or directories is a big part of what you're going to be doing when you're working in a Linux environment. One of the things that's often useful is to know what folder you're currently in. Now, on something like Windows or on Mac, you would be using some kind of file explorer that would be, like you'd be clicking on folders and you'd be going down deeper and deeper into folders inside of folders inside of folders, and there'd probably be some kind of bar up near the top that's telling you you're inside of, say, My Documents / English Paper / My Paper. Okay? Well, how would you know that if you were on a Unix computer? Well, a good command to know is pwd. pwd stands for present working directory. And like, it will just tell you on the current computer what directory are you in. Very, very useful command. So like, I just typed pwd on my little login right here, and I got /home/shruggyj/desktop. That is the directory I am currently in right now. Home, all of our accounts are there's a folder on the computer called home. Inside of there's a folder for each of the users that I've created an account for on Chesapeake. And then inside of that folder is all my stuff. Okay, and all your stuff will be inside of your folder, including potentially more folders. Let's be more sophisticated and call them directories. So pwd tells you what your present working directory is. What can we do here? Let's see here. What other things do we want to do? Like, for example, at the present time, I am in home shruggyj desktop. What if I wanted to go back? I want to get out of desktop and just back into my home directory, home shruggyj. Well, to go up a directory, to get up one folder, on a Mac or a PC, you'd probably use like a back button in your file explorer or whatever. On a Unix environment, you're going to change directory, space, ... is the parent. One up. Okay? That's how it's pronounced, is ... and it means the parent directory. What is one directory up from where I am right now? So if I type cd ... and then type pwd for present working directory, I'm now in home shruggyj. Okay, I've gone back up a directory. But yeah, that also works on Windows and Macs and stuff too, by the way. Like inside of the terminal in a Mac, you can do those same kind of commands here. Alright, so you're in some kind of directory. What's in here? Now, if you were using a Mac or a PC, you'd probably have some kind of file exploring tool, like the Windows Explorer, or whatever, Finder, or whatever they call it on a Mac. I've never been very good at Mac terminology as to what all those programs are called. On a Linux computer, the command to get a listing of what is in that current directory is ls. ls, I think, means like list. I don't know. I'm not sure what the abbreviation is. So here's a list of the files that I have currently on this particular computer in that directory. There's some significance to the colors. Depending on exactly how we have the settings set up, though, you may or may not see different colors on your end when you do these kind of commands on your account. Anyway, so like you can see I have some MP4 files. These are some videos that I had been working on. You can see I have some OGVs. Those are OGG Vorbis files or some other video format files. As it happens, the blue things on here are directories, or folders, if you will. Like I have a folder called classes and a folder called desktop and so on. There are some files on here which are in green, like clipping.c is a C program I've been working on. There's just stuff. ls is a good trick to know to get a listing of what's in the current directory. Even better, this doesn't actually tell you very much other than the names of these files. Okay? If you want to actually see some details about these files, ls space -last. -last is the first example of what we call a flag in Linux. Flags are like adverbs or adjectives. They modify the command. And I have to admit, I can't remember what last stands for. But ls -last is a very common command in Linux. It means to like list all, it probably does stand for like list all something or others. I don't know, whatever. It gives you all the properties of these files. Now, we'll learn more over the course of the semester what all these numbers and stuff mean right here. But for each of the files that we have, or folders here, it tells us things like when it was created, and how big it is, and who owns it, and so on. This number right here, like for example, for done.ogv, this is an OGG Vorbis video file. This is how big the file is. What is that? Like 1 megabyte or something, 1.8 megabytes. This string of strange characters up here is actually the permissions. We'll learn more about permissions over the course of the semester. It tells you who has permission to look at your file, to change your file, to erase your file, etc. So ls -last is an awfully handy thing. Like for example, it tells me things like where what folders I have. I have a folder called music. I have a folder called documents. I apparently have a folder called templates. Some of these are default folders that were created when I made the account, and I have to admit I don't know what they all do. Let's see here. Yep, dir does work too, although it just is a synonym for ls. That's an old throwback to a different time. It strips all the colors out. Let's see here. Wildcards. Let me just clear this out. Clears the screen. Doesn't hurt anything there. Alright, if I just did an ls here, I got a whole bunch of stuff. Now, this is only maybe 40 files, but it would be perfectly possible to have a zillion files. In fact, let's do that. As it happens, I happen to know that on this particular computer, I've been working with another student, and in a directory called /data, in a data folder, there is an account, there's a folder, called Bayou. And Bayou is over there. He has a directory there called Surface. And if I change directory to Surface, I'm now in /data/Bayou/Surface. And if we go in here, there's some other files and directories. If I type ls, I can see some of them. And if I go into raw data and do an ls, oh my gosh, there are hundreds and hundreds of files in here. Okay. So much stuff. What would I necessarily want? Well, now as it happens, these are data files that we're using in one of my research projects right now. And each of these files here, the name means something. The first part of the file's name is actually the weather station's identifier that the data came from. The last part is the year that those data in that file come from, etc. So like, what if I wanted to just see all the data from 2012? Well, that's what wildcards are for. This would be a really hard thing to do on a Mac or on a PC, but in Linux it's very easy. For example, star. Star means anything. So like if I type star 2012, this will list all files that's named as end in 2012. See how I have now a whole screen full of files that are named in 2012? Or let's say I wanted to have all the files that are from the 1900s. I could say ls star 19 ? Star means anything, no matter how many digits it is. Question mark means one character here, but I don't care what it is. So like any file that ends in 19 anything will work. Like 1980, or 1981, or 1999, or whatever. So here I'll just be getting the files that end in 19 something. Okay? That would be virtually impossible to do in a Windows computer, or on a Mac computer, or whatever. So there's two different wildcards there. There's star, which means anything, and question mark, which means one character. Okay, but any one character there. So let's just say, I think for example, all the stations that start with 94 are in Australia. So like if I type ls9 store 4, that shows me all the files that are for Australia, that are in this database, and so on. These can be very powerful tools. They can be powerful because I could like move all the files that end in 2012, or make a copy of all the files that end in 2012, or all the files that start with 94, or whatever. Again, you could almost never do that kind of stuff on like a Windows or a Mac computer. That's why Linux computers are out there. They have the ability to do big data type things that Windows and Mac really just don't. So yeah, again, it could be lots of different things. I want to show you another trick real quick. So we're currently, if I type pwd, we're currently in /data/bayou/surface/raw data. If I want to get all the way back to my home directory, there's a shortcut to that. cd with nothing else after it just means go back to your home directory. So cd changes me back all the way to pwd, changes me back to home /ej. And if I do an ls, you can see the stuff that's right here. And if I do like an ls*.c, you'll see all the files in there that end in .c, which would include clipping.c and map3.jms.c. Two files I happen to be working on at the present time. Alright, what else can we do here when we're in our account? Well, we could make a copy of a file. For example, what if I wanted to make a copy of clipping.c? Copy is cp, and then the syntax is copy, source, target. Okay, remember, first off, it's caveman language, right? So the verb comes first, CP, verb noun syntax. Then the source, what am I copying? And where do I want to put it? I'll call it clipping2.c. So clipping.c will get copied into clipping2.c. And now if I do an ls, you can see I have two files, clipping.c and clipping2.c. Keep CP is a very, very powerful little program. It could make a copy of a file like that. It could also make a copy of that file in a directory. So for example, if I had, you can see I have a directory, for example, called classes. If I said copy clipping.c classes, it will make a copy of clipping.c in the classes folder. So now if I change directory into classes and do ls, well look, clipping.c is in here. Okay? Another thing I can do with these files is I can erase them. Okay, the erase command is remove. rm clipping.c will remove clipping.c from this current directory. So, classes. Alright, remove clipping.c. Now if I do ls, clipping.c is gone. Now, here's a warning. There is no recycling bin in Linux. There is no trash can, whatever. If you erase a file, it is gone and it's not coming back. Be very careful when you erase files because you can do very bad things. Using the remove command with wildcards like star or question mark is an invitation to be very, very sad. For example, if I typed rm star.c, I would remove all of my C programs, and there is, well, in the current directory now, as it happens in home Shruggy J classes, I don't have any C programs, but if I did, they'd all be gone, and there is no way to get them back. Okay? In general, RM should be used with great caution, because there is no getting it back if you have any problems there. You could make directories. You want to make directories or folders or whatever, it's mkdir, make directory. I'll call this one my new directory. Okay, mkdir, my new directory. If I do an ls now, look what I've got here. My new directory, which I could change directories into. Now, if I do present working directory, you can see I'm in home Shruggy J, my new directory. Neat! I could put files in here, I could do whatever. Okay. If I want to erase the directory, I have to get out of it first. I'll use cd ... to go up to the parent, the directory above this, and then rmdir, remove directory, my new directory. And now that directory is gone. Neat. Okay. What else can we do? Well, one thing we could do is see what is in a file. I mean, if I do an ls right here, you can see that I have a file called clipping.c and clipping2.c. What's in there? What is this file? One thing that can work, okay, it's not going to work on like the video files or something like that, but if they're just containing text, like a program or data or something, the command to see more of what's in there is more, and then the name of the file you want to see, like more clipping.c will show us the top. Okay, again, you don't know anything about these programs yet, but with time you'll learn more about programs. And it kind of like lets me page through these programs. I page through it by hitting the space key. Okay, let me do that command again. More clipping.c. Alright, I'm seeing the first 27% as it says on the screen there of this file. And I can go and hit space and move on to the next part, and the next part, now I'm at the bottom of the file. Okay? More, let's just see. It wouldn't work if we tried to say more and then one of these, like these video files, like done.ogvorbis file. I mean, it's just garbage. We can't see this in here. Okay, it's just yuck. Hey, how do I get out of this here? Remember, the key to getting out of anything that's broke, oh my gosh, I just want to get out of this current program, Control-C. Control-C will break you out of whatever was going wrong in Linux. Alright, now the next big thing we need to be able to do on a Unix computer or a Linux computer is actually editing a file, changing it, like writing a program and saving it and making changes to it and so on. That's what a very powerful command called vi is for, but we will do that in the next video. In the meantime, I do want to show you a handful of little tricks. Now, Linux is full of neat little hacks that can save you time and neat little tricks that everybody should know. I just want to show you a couple of these neat little tricks. Like if I do ls again, see how I have, okay, like let's say I wanted to go into the directory called research, okay? I could type cd research, and I would be inside of that directory. See, pwd tells me I'm inside that directory. But here's the deal. Let's say I'm really lazy. I'm back on the home directory now, and I don't want to actually use my little fingers and actually type all the way cd research. How about cd space r? Now, there's nothing else here that starts with the letter R. The only thing it could possibly mean is research, right? I don't have any other directories called anything that starts with the letter R. So if I just hit my escape key, I think it's 3 times. Some computers it'll be 2 depending on how they're mapped. cd research and hit the escape key 3 times, it fills in the rest for me. This is a really strange thing that Linux can do. If there's only one command, there's only one file it could be, once you've typed enough of it, it'll 3 taps of the escape key, maybe it's 2 on your computer, will finish it for you. This can be really a powerful little trick, actually. Like, let me see another one here. You know, some of these file names are horrible. Like these ones here that have all these dates on here, these MP4 files. All right, well, I could say I'm sorry, not CD. Let's say I was going to copy those files. I'm going to copy 2015-06-02_16. Okay, now I'm trying to copy this one right here. I have now got enough that is the, I don't need the rest of those digits. If I just escape a couple times, hey, don't make a liar out of me. Maybe I misspelled it. 2014-06, yeah, I misspelled it. 06-06. See how, like, there's only, once I got as far as 06-06, there's no other file that matches. So if I hit escape a couple times, it fills in the rest for me. Saves a little wear and tear on your fingers, saves a little mistake. Because here's the deal, you're going to see sometimes file names are huge, like dozens of characters long. That could be a real time saver. I'm going to break out of this command because I don't actually want to do what I'm doing there. Another thing that you can do, let's just say I did ls, okay? Now, for whatever reason, you wouldn't necessarily want to, but let's say I want to do ls again. I could type ls, but you know what I can do even simpler? Bang, bang. 2 exclamation points. 2 exclamation points means do the same command you just did, do it again. Now, in the case of ls, that doesn't save you anything, okay, right? But what if I had said, I don't know, let's just say copy 2015-06, oops, I'm off on my keys there. Copy 2015-06-06, whatever, to the classes directory. Okay, I'm making just a copy of that video file. Oh man, it's big. Okay. I didn't mean to do something. Yeah, it's kind of slow here. Whew. Probably should get that off of my hard drive. Let's see here. Let's see what that is actually. ls minus last star.mp4. List with all the features, all the files that match star.mp4. That 0606 one is right here. Oh my word. How big is that thing? That's 2 gig. Let's get it. No, I probably shouldn't get rid of it until I know what it is. Let me go into that classes directory, and we can see it's there. See that file there? Let's remove it. 2015, there's only one file that matches. Once I got as far as 215, I could hit escape, 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 and it filled it all in for me. I don't need to worry about it anymore. And now it's gone. I'll have to look and see what that file is, because there's no reason to take up 2 gig of hard drive space if it was just me messing around with my camera or something. Anyway, we were on that bang bang trick there. For example, let me go back over here to data, Bayou, what was it there, surface, raw data. Okay? So we are at pretty deep in there. We're 4 folders deep here. cd ... gets us up 1 directory. Now we're in data, Bayou, surface. Bang bang would repeat that command. It repeats cd ... and now we are at data, Bayou. And if I say bang bang again, I get cd ... again. Now we're just in data. Neat. I'm just repeating the command. Now some of the commands we're going to be using this semester get pretty long. Being able to do them again is handy. What's also really handy is you don't necessarily have to say, I want to do the last command again. I want to do something else. For example, if I go back to my home directory here, let's say I copy clipping2.c to research. Okay? Now, if I say, let's see here, how do I want to do this? I could do something else, ls. I could, ls minus last. I'm doing a couple other things. What if I wanted to copy clipping2.c back to research again? Like maybe somewhere along the way I had erased it or something. Bang C means do the most recent command you did that started with the letter C. So in this case, bang C will once again do copy clipping2.c to research. See how it even repeats it on the screen there? Copy clipping2.c to research. So bang bang means do the last command again. Bang and then a letter tells you do the last command that was there with that letter in it. That started with that letter rather. These are slick, and especially as we start doing some commands that involve a lot of repetition, you're going to see that this is really, really handy. Okay, you're going to save a lot of wear and tear on your fingers and on your keyboard and so on using these tricks. All right, that's a whole lot of information. I'm going to let you do some little experimentation here as to how to work with these commands in your Linux command prompt. And please let me know if you have any questions. This has been Dr. John Schrage.